Live from the ValdostaHomeSales.com studios, it is The Running Theory with Rick and Rob. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Hey, man.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. We're back.
Back again.
Back again. It's
back
Monday.
in action. We're
Yeah,
we're down a couple cameras today. Somebody
really?
come in and I forgot to bring it back.
Oh, well, that's all right.
So
You
we're
can
only going to
see
get
the
one.
screen, right?
Yeah, you can see. You can see us, and
Okay.
that's sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad
Yeah,
thing.
not so good sometimes.
So what's going on?
Man,
Another week.
Another week, man. It's good. I tell you, I did something a little bit different. You know, usually I like to have a day between my runs, so I got a little bit of energy. But Friday was my regular run day, and I had a lot of things come up, and I just wasn't into it. So I didn't run Friday. I ran Saturday. I went out and ran Saturday evening, and then of course we run on Sunday morning, so that wasn't much of a recovery time. But I went out and ran Saturday evening. I actually felt okay Sunday morning. We ran, and we didn't kill it Sunday morning, but we had a pretty good run. I thought
It was a
Yeah.
nice, decent 5-mile run.
And I
Just
felt
to
okay. Yeah.
knock the dust off.
Yeah, it
You
wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I thought I had a great run Saturday. I kind of pushed it a little bit, and I was able to air it out a little bit and felt pretty
When
good.
I run by myself, I usually run faster
I do too. I don't pace
because
myself well.
I'm like, let's get this done,
Yeah.
and I run faster.
Well, I noticed Sunday morning you took off. You're kind of a little ahead of. We ran with not Polly, Jamie. We ran with Jamie.
Jamie
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah,
Her
and-
husband's been on the show before.
Yeah, he has, and Jamie runs along pretty good too. But I noticed you were kind of out ahead of us for a little while there.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. We had a good time.
Yeah, it was.
And there's been this is an unfortunate day. We're gonna have to make I'm gonna have to make my first on-air formal apology.
This is kind of funny. Yeah,
First on-air public apology. Now I feel like the big celebs when they say something wrong,
Yeah.
and then they got to come on, and then they
I
have
don't know
to
how you're going to find
apologize.
your way out of this, man. I
And
don't
so
know.
last week was crazy, and we were, I had messaged a guest about the show, and for some reason I was, maybe my kids were playing with my phone, but I never saw her reply back, and so
Sure.
we ended up having a medical appointment for my daughters, my twin daughters.
Right.
It was, maybe their 1-year checkup or something, but it was one that they were going to get shots for. So it's hard to take two children into a waiting room and, Mama's holding shots, and Crystal couldn't do it by herself. She
Yeah,
could
sure.
do it by herself, but to make it easier,
Yeah,
I
I'm sure it
decided
helped
to
a
go.
lot.
And so we just so I called you. I said, you look, we don't have really anybody coming in today, so I don't think I'm going to be back in time to do the show, so let's just cancel. And so the person that was supposed to be on the show came,
Yeah,
and she waited
And
for
she
about
waited.
20 or 30 minutes,
and we wasn't there.
and I wasn't there. So I had to call her
Yeah,
and,
I hate that,
and
man.
apologize. And
It was the first Monday since we've started that we didn't do a show. We didn't do a show. So all of our, we disappointed a lot of fans, thousands of fans. Remember where we're at.
they
Yeah.
were calling me and, where's the show? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
happened to
yeah.
Rick?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. We know it's his fault.
But she'll be in next week. The director of Girls on the Run, which is a great organization.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she'll be coming in
It's
next
going to be
week.
great. I'm looking forward to talking to her. Yeah.
And so
But we got a great show tonight.
who do we have coming in?
We got Stephanie McDuffie Freeman coming on. I mean, she is super fit, and I'm looking forward to talking to her because she's a real presence, with fitness. I know she's a runner, so I'm looking forward to talking to her. So we'll be calling her here in just a minute. But I do have a little other information and news for you, Rob. And I know you kind of just you noticed this a while ago and you mentioned it. but-
Lauren Hurley.
That's okay.
I apologize to Lauren Hurley because it was my mix-up, and I called her about 5:30 last week, and she was fine. She's
well,
very
we
nice.
appreciate it, yeah.
So, and she was very understanding.
Well, good.
Okay, go ahead with your news.
Well, it's great news. There's a platform out there, and it's very new. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Instagram. I hear it's catching on. But we're on Instagram now.
We're on
We're
Instagram
now. Yeah, I mean, go figure. We haven't had an Instagram account, but it's kind of cool. My son you know, was talking to me today at lunch, and he said, "Hey, you know, you really need to get on Instagram." And I said, "Well, hey, yeah, let's do that." And he kind of walked me through it. I mean, I know there's nothing to it, but he knew some different avenues about this tree you get on, and you know, and you can reach out and all these hashtags and everything. Which he got us started, and you know, that's going to just be a greater outreach for us.
Hashtag running theory.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
if you ever listen, if you're on Instagram, please go look us up. And
Running Theory, no caps, no spaces. Running Theory.
Running Theory.
It
Easy
wasn't
to
taken.
remember.
It wasn't taken.
You know what? I'm
I'm surprised.
There's because we're Running Theory, and it's an original name.
It is.
Nobody out there has Running Theory.
Well, you know what the problem is, though? There's people out there who create these names, you know, just to claim them, you know.
Yeah.
So they got all day on you know, all this time on their hands. They just sit out there and they create names and they just claim these names, you know, which, you know, I don't know. I guess they feel like one of them is going to be something maybe they can get some money for, you know.
Yeah,
which,
yeah.
You know,
well, you know, they have, after you claim something, you can put it for sale. You can instantly put it for sale.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'll actually tell you, like some of the web domain companies, they'll say, well, this domain name is worth, and they will estimate a price of how much it's worth.
Well, ours would be super valuable. I mean, all I can say about that is if you
somebody's going to register the domain name right now because we don't have a website, which I don't know if people, you know, in this avenue really care about websites too much. I mean, because like when I look up Joe Rogan or, you know, any of the podcasters that I listen to, I go to their like Instagram or Facebook or YouTube channel. I never like, if I want to watch a Joe Rogan video, I don't go to joerogan.com.
Right, yeah.
Or the joeroganexperience.com.
Sure.
I go to YouTube.
Same here.
And so we are on YouTube, easy to find, Running Theory.
Yeah. If somebody had Running Theory, though, I mean, and they wanted to keep it for themselves, and we needed it. All I can tell you is the check's in the mail, right?
Yeah.
The check's in the
mail. We'll bring them on as a guest host.
Yeah, that would be super interesting.
And that's worth, you know, $3.50.
Yeah.
It's worth a Big Mac.
That's worth
something.
surrendering the name for sure.
So we've been running, and one of our favorite races announced this week that they have been approved to run in person.
Yeah.
So Space Coast, which I haven't checked the date, I'll have to look up the date, but Space Coast is going to be running in person. Let me see.
You asked
they announced
me
on
if I wasn't looking at Facebook lately because I didn't see that, but we ran. How many times
Space
you ran
Coast marathon and half marathon? I've run the marathon 3 times.
Yeah.
I
ran it 4 times, I think.
We really need to reach out to one of them and try to get it on because several people from Valdosta have run that race, and it is a great venue.
Yeah,
I
really
mean,
is.
The weather's always warm, but it's never rained on me. November 29th, 2020. 3 months, 11 days, 13 hours, and 5 minutes till liftoff.
I like that countdown clock they have.
Yeah. And so it is available. And it's one that would seriously sell out in like 5 minutes for the half. I remember signing up because one year we had talked about signing up for the half. Because we're running the series. We were running one of the launch series, the Challenger series, I think it was. And they were doing the Challenger.
Well, those marathons would beat the tar out of me.
Yeah.
You know, I had the worst marathon experience I've ever had down there. So I think that last run to maintain the series and get all the medals, I was going to try to do the half. But unfortunately, that's the year that my mother passed away, so I wasn't able to make it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it happened right there about that time. So, you know, I didn't complete the series. But Joe Knoll Joe Knoll out of Tifton, he actually completed the series.
Yeah, I can. Did I complete? I got an extra medal. That's all I know.
You may have done it then.
And that's the only reason that we even do these races. Let me look up because there was another race, and I want to get the specifics on it.
We know the Run for Nurses in Tifton. You know, I hear that might be on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll keep you posted.
Who puts on that run?
Oh, brother, I don't know. I can't remember.
Well,
maybe
if somebody knows that they can post it.
Yeah, just post it to us.
I
can't remember,
Facebook.
but it's always been a good race.
I hear there's hills on it.
There's a few hills. It's not a bad race at all, but it's one of those that you run a lot of just kind of out on these open roads, you know. And I like when I run a race, I like to have some twists and turns. I like to run through neighborhoods and that sort of thing because it just kind of takes my mind off how far you got to go.
Oh yeah.
But when you look down the road and all you see is more road, just
Yeah.
open horizon, you know, it's
Yeah.
just like, man,
It makes the
we're
hills
never
longer.
going to get there. Yeah, yeah. The Apalachicola running for the bay, it was like that. You get on these bridges, and man, you just see out in front of you, and there's nothing. I mean, it's just bridges. And
Okay.
it's just, it gets to you.
Valdosta, Georgia, Blazer Cross Country 5K Road Race, which is Labor Day weekend, I believe. Or maybe it's not Labor Day weekend. August 22nd. So Labor Day is September.
Yep.
Okay.
First week
so
of September,
wait,
right?
that's this Saturday. Is that this Saturday?
No, not yet. We still got another week or so
No.
in August.
It's August 22nd. It's
Oh, it's
August
August
17th
22nd.
now.
I thought you said it was September.
No, it's August 22nd.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah. So, well, maybe you're right. I mean, it's August 22nd.
This weekend.
It's August 22nd.
Yeah.
I thought my birthday was like yesterday.
Yeah.
That was like at the beginning of the month. Okay, that's strange.
Wait.
God, this month is moving by, man.
Yeah, it's August 17th. So it's August
17th, yeah.
22nd.
Okay.
5K road race. It must be no frills because it's $10.
Oh wow.
$10 to race, and there's a virtual 5K virtual option that's $15.
What is the length of the race again?
It's 3.1 miles.
That's the
What's-
virtual though, right?
The virtuals, I mean the 5Ks. I mean it's a 5K.
Okay.
The course starts near the corner of Azalea Drive and College Street at the Vecca School. And first place. Okay, so there are some guidelines. Valdosta City Schools request to wear a mask at all times except when running. So you don't have to wear your mask when you're running,
Right.
but
at the
problem-
gathering
at
point, yeah.
registration, wear your mask
Yeah,
and keep your distance.
Sure.
You know, and just do it like you're doing anything else. And they're not gonna. It doesn't look like they're gonna take temperatures, but if you have a temperature, you are having symptoms of COVID.
Don't show up.
Don't come. You know.
Seems so simple.
Bring
Yeah.
your own water bottles. No water coolers will be offered at the start or at the finish.
Well, that's understandable.
Carry what you need to keep you safe throughout the morning. Please do not share water bottles with non-family members. And you know what? If you have some hand sanitizer, bring it.
Okay, yeah, that's all reasonable. Yeah,
So,
I don't think that's asking too much. I know some people are ready to run. You know, the people are ready to
Yeah,
race. So
I
it's
think
a
it'd
great
be.
opportunity.
I think it'll be great.
Sure.
Let me see. Do I have anything Saturday? Looks like I have a 5K on Saturday.
Sounds good.
That's what we're gonna do.
I wish I could join you, but
uh,
unfortunately I can't.
I mean, if they're running, then I'll be there. For some reason I thought it was Labor Day, but I think there might be a Labor Day race in the works also.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
So I wish I would have read that properly, because then I would have called Todd. Maybe if we have time at the end, I'll call Todd.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. Well, this thing can run as long as we want it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until my wife calls me and
Right.
tells me
Yeah.
to
so
come
where
home.
you at? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've got my wife is making dinner tonight.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
What's she
so-
cooking?
Pork chops.
Fried pork chops or grilled pork chops?
Grilled pork chops. Yeah.
I like
I try to stay away from. Well, I like fried pork chops, but I try to stay away from that.
fried pork chops is one of my favorite foods,
I agree.
along
I
with
like it.
fried chicken, country fried steak.
Fried.
Yeah, whatever it's fried.
Yeah, hey, it's good. There's no doubt about it. It's good. You have to kind of stay away from that somewhat, though.
I do.
Yeah.
But you know what? So are we going to start training for this? But the problem with the Space Coast is it is a couple days after Thanksgiving and Peachtree's on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, if it happens, I'm
If-
still not sure that's going to happen. I hope it does.
How long do you think they're going to wait before they decide whether it's going to happen or not?
Gosh, man, I don't know. I'd like to think they'd go ahead and just nail it down, but with things like they are, it's going to be on a dime. I think
Mhm.
it's going to be one of those things where they let you know a week out. Hey, it's just
Which
not gonna
Space
happen.
Coast is a pretty large race, but it's not. I think they limit it to like a couple thousand, and there's
Yeah.
a difference between 2,000 and 60,000.
Right? Oh yeah. It's
So
huge
I
difference.
mean,
Gosh, it's hard to say. I mean, I really hope that Peachtree happens because I love running Peachtree, and it's even going to be better. I mean, if it's on Thanksgiving, I mean, it might be a few degrees cooler,
Mhm.
if nothing else. I mean, that would be great, but for us on Thanksgiving, we don't really. I mean, we do a little bit with the family, but that's one of those things. We can go to Atlanta, we can do the race and come home, and
mhm. because you're usually off on Thanksgiving,
Yeah, we're
and
closed on
you're
Thanksgiving.
not usually off on July 4th,
That's well, no, we usually are, unless it
unless it's
falls on
on
a
a
Saturday.
Saturday.
Right? Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
So and that only happens every so often. This year it would have actually been on a Saturday. So
mhm.
I would have been up the creek kind of. But I was thinking about how I was going to handle that because there is some people who from Tifton I know that go and park at the airport.
Mhm.
They run the race and they catch the motor back out to the airport and they just drive back home right after the race. So I was thinking I could do that. Maybe I can talk to my boss and say, hey, is there any way I can come in at like 1?
Mm.
And that could have been doable. So that was my plan. But because it's 10 years, 11 years straight for me
Really.
on Peachtree. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So it's a couple days after Peachtree. So, yeah.
Well, I
But you
could.
know what? A lot of which I don't know, which y'all do Big Black Friday, right? Y'all do it up
Well,
on Black Friday, or
it's not like mainstream retail. It's not like at 5 o'clock in the morning. We have
uh,
80 people run. I mean, or 180 people running. It kind of gradually comes about. We open at normal hours, but our business kind of gradually picks up after they go to all the other places, and do their thing.
because I'm reading this year that Walmart's going to be closed on Thanksgiving, Best Buy's going to be closed on Thanksgiving.
Man,
A
I think
lot of
that's
these
great.
a lot of these people have been opening up, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day,
Yeah,
and they're all going to be closed this year.
man, give your employees
It's
some days off.
yeah.
I mean, come on.
What's an extra 7 hours
I
or
know. I mean, people are still going to come get it. I mean,
uh
they're the only ones who's got it. Them and a couple other folks, or a few other businesses. People are going to still
So
come and get it.
we might have an actual Black Friday this year because really the last couple, maybe 4 or 5 years since they've started doing this, like really hardcore, Black Fridays have been like, an afterthought because everybody's been out. All the hardcore
Right.
bust down the door shoppers have been out there at 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting
It
this
will
year.
be. I think it needs to be alleviated somewhat anyway, because people get crazy at those things. I don't. I've never been one of those early morning go out and get in the crowd. I just don't care about that. But I know some people are, and
I
it
just
gets it
take
gets ugly.
I just take a little I cut off a broom handle about this big, and then I just go hit people in the knees.
Oh my gosh! Well,
If they're running in front of me to get a TV, it's
man, some of the stories I've heard, it sounds like you'd be fit right in.
no,
Nothing's that important to me.
you know what? My favorite thing is usually they have a ladder on sale at Lowe's,
Yeah.
and so I've picked up a couple of those over
Well,
the
you
years.
can do it online now, right? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
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 I mean, I don't. Last year I didn't go. A couple years. I've been a couple years. If I need like a TV or something,
Yeah.
then I'll go out there. But I go to the stores where they're guaranteed to have it.
Right.
You're guaranteed to get one. Or Target, you have to go through the line and
Sure.
you take a number and
Man,
you know.
times are changing, man. I mean, I hadn't seen my Sears catalog, and I couldn't tell you when.
Nope, it hadn't been around lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see. Do you want to text our caller and tell her that we're gonna be?
I shot you the number. You mind giving her a call, being you're kind of hooked up over there? Or?
Yep. Let me make sure that I got it. Let's see if we're calling here.
I don't know. I don't know how long we rambled. I told her it's only 18 after. I told her we'd call her a little after 5.
Oh.
Hey.
Hello.
Stephanie.
Hey, how are
Hey.
you?
I like that ringtone. I got some Rocky going on
Yeah,
right
man.
before we
That's
started.
inspiring right
Everybody
there.
says that. It's been that way for years.
Stephanie, this is Rick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Great. We're so glad to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. It's so nice to be here.
We didn't keep you waiting too long. We get to rambling sometimes, and so
That's all right.
hopefully Stephanie won't give up on us. I
Not
haven't
at
seen
all.
I haven't seen you in a while. I used to kind of see you at races here and there. Of course, there's no races going on right now, but I think the last time I saw you was at Peachtree, and that's been several years ago.
Yeah.
Does that sound
yeah,
about right?
I've done some since then, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I did the Peachtree a while back, but I haven't done it in just a few years.
Yeah.
But
Well, hey, we know you've got a real interesting story. I follow you on Facebook. I know a lot of people do, and through the
Thank
years,
you.
I know you've told your story. I've heard your story before, but I think for our audience, it'd be great for you to kind of tell us about yourself again, introduce yourself, and just kind of tell us how you grew up and what happened to you. I know you've got a really interesting story, so if you wouldn't mind, why don't you just go ahead and talk about that a little bit, and we're gonna
Okay.
grill you with questions after that.
All right, that'll work. Well, when I was 14 years old, I was in a car accident. And I'm going to start by saying the last thing that I remember when I was 14 years old, this is 1993, is walking out of my parents' home and to hang out with some friends. My dad, he worked on the railroad and he was not there. And actually, I was grounded that weekend. I was told not to go out, but you know how we
Oh
are
goodness, should have listened.
as
Do you
children.
remember what you were grounded for?
I can't, I think I was fighting with my sister or something, which was regular.
I have one of those.
But so I was told not to go out. Well, I talked my mom into letting me go out and chill uptown with my friends. Well, I was 14 years old, so it wasn't nothing big. So that was the last thing I remember in '93. And the next thing that I remember is waking up, lifting my head up. I had spit rolling out of my mouth, and I was sitting in a wheelchair in a hospital hallway in Albany, Georgia. I mean, I know I was in Albany, but I looked around. I looked to one side, then I looked to the other, and I was like, the 50, I turned 15 years old when I was in a coma. The 15-year-old in me said, "Get up. What are you doing?" So I tried to. And that's when I realized I couldn't walk. But that night, when I was grounded, I went uptown and I got into a car accident. I was driving my friend's car
At 14.
at 14, right? And and I flipped it 5 times on a highway going toward her house on
Holy
Highway
smokes.
215, if you're familiar with that one. And I went to the hospital and they stitched me up and they took me to, I went to Fitzgerald Hospital and then they sent me to Albany, Georgia Hospital.
So the
And
term
I
"lucky
was
to be alive" really fits the occasion.
absolutely,
Now let me ask
yes.
you,
And
how was everybody else? Did everybody survive?
everyone else survived. I
Awesome,
was the
that's
only
great.
one that was injured. I had a brain injury and a lung injury. I was not wearing my seatbelt. 93, we didn't do things
Sure,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That was a new
And
concept back then.
And the cars didn't beep at you
Right.
constantly.
I know. I make all kind of jokes about back then, 93. But anyway, so I was in the hospital in intensive care for 2 months in Albany, Georgia, at Palmyra Park. It's Phoebe now, but um, I was on life support and I wasn't given much hope of ever surviving. And then the next moment I remember is that moment I just told you about in that hallway, sitting in a wheelchair. I had no clue I'd been in a coma for 2 months. I had no idea who I was, where I was, and why I was sitting in a wheelchair, honestly. And I hit the floor on my knees of that floor. I made a decision for myself because that's when I realized I couldn't walk. I made a decision that I was not going out like that. And even though I was hearing all of the nurses and doctors tell me she's not going to walk again, and they were preparing my dad and mom to build ramps to take me home in. But that day on that floor, I made a decision for my life that I was not going out that way.
Well, let me
And
ask
I
you,
did not.
as a kid at 14, I mean, were you already active? Do you were a
Was
runner? Did you do anything active? Or were you just a normal 14-year-old kid?
I was just a normal, wild 14-year-old kid.
It's amazing that you were able to, to collect yourself like that and make a decision. I mean,
It's such a blessing.
yeah, yeah,
Such a blessing because that day when I figured out, I could not walk. And hearing people say that, that has been ingrained in my mind, but it's also been a force for me. It's been my leading force, giving me inspiration, encouragement, enthusiasm. You know what? I'm capable of anything if I can get over that. And that I made that decision that day. And 2 months later, I walked out of that hospital.
wow. 2 months after they said you probably never walk again.
Well, I was hearing those things. I mean, it really didn't click with me because I didn't allow it, you
Right.
know? But I remember all of the therapy. I've got videos of me when I was learning to walk. I've been offered money for those videos and they're priceless to me. I will not
Sure.
sell 'em. But, I knew there was more for me.
Well, let me ask you,
And
as you got back on your feet again and you were walking, and how did the trajectory of your life kind of go from there? You just kind of went on through high school, I guess, and
well,
what
that's a
happened? What changed?
Well, actually the therapy, and I tell people this when I visit them in the hospital today. The therapy actually began for my mind the day I walked out of that hospital because I was 15 years old. The only thing I had on my mind was being normal, being not being different. And that's what that drive kept me that way, kept me going. Well, you can do this, kept me going. So when I left that hospital, I left all of those memories. I left all of that pain. I didn't want to take a look at it. I
Yeah.
survived, it was over. And I didn't start being really active until maybe a year later. And I was just power walking and, just being really active and working out and whatnot. But then I started running and but and I got into 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons. I qualified for Boston. I got
Yeah.
to the Boston Marathon. But
You were
I
chasing Boston, I
remember
remember.
I was chasing and I caught it
Yeah, I
too.
remember very well. Yeah.
And I was working with Saucony Shoe Company. I was a sales rep. This is before I got into Boston. And I was in Boston in 2013. Do you recall that? April 15th of
Yeah,
2013.
yeah, I
Do you
sure
remember
do. Yeah. You're talking about
that?
for the
Dude,
actual race, for the event.
the
The
Boston
bombing. Yeah.
Marathon bombings. Yeah.
We had
Well,
Mike
I was,
Beeman on a few weeks ago, and he talked
yay!
about that. Yeah, yeah, he talked a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, yes. I remember when he was there. I was there when that happened. I was at mile 25 and a half when those bombings happened. And I'm going to tell you, Rick, I was in a pizza parlor and the runners were coming by and we heard a loud, just like two cars hitting each other. And everybody kind of looked around and, we didn't know. And then exactly 10 seconds later, it was the most horrible noise I'd ever heard, like a bomb or a plane hitting the building. Well, the whole mall stampeded. I was in the food court. They stampeded. And I remember running out onto the streets of Boston, and the runners were running up the hill. It was Boston Marathon. Everybody was loud. They didn't know what was going on. I remember running out into the streets, and then the SWAT teams coming out of the air and pushing us all back into that mall where I was eating at. And from there, we were on lockdown in that mall until 1 or 2 a.m. And my flight back to Georgia was the next day at 1 o'clock. And I thought, well, I can't believe, I've survived something else. I'm
Yeah,
really
I
a
mean,
survivor.
what an experience! Your first
I
time at Boston,
know.
and there's a bombing. That's just crazy.
So I remember that flying back or getting on that plane, and I flew back to Georgia. Well, that being involved in all of that horror, and I didn't see any deaths. But I saw a lot of tragedy
Yeah, a lot of
and
fallout.
pain. Right. And I remember going through PTSD after that happened. I hardly slept. When I would sleep, I would have dreams of that hospital I laid in '93. And I mean, I had visions. I mean, I could hear it was awful for me. And I didn't tell anyone about it. I had fatigue really bad and I could hardly lift myself up off the couch. I remember it well. But then I jumped back I started walking and then I started running more. And as I was running, I would, start having these things come to me and I would come back home and I would write. So then I started speaking at different races and marathons and it helped me get through that time. And the next year I got into Boston, 2014, and I ran that marathon. I ran it slow and I cried probably the whole way, whole 26 miles because it was so special to me. So I attribute that bombing. It was a terrible situation, but it was a blessing in disguise because it helped me open back up to places in my own life that I had pushed aside, and never wanted to look at.
Isn't that interesting that you were at peak performance? All these years later in your life, and then you kind of hit that same spot again almost. And but
Mm.
but you're able to overcome it. So that's very interesting, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And being active is very important to me, whether it's running, working out, training people, whatever it is very important for my life because it is a blessing because of the things that I went through. And I thoroughly believe, that's honoring that place and honoring
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
being that way.
Hey, let me ask you. Just viewing your Facebook page and such, it seems like you lift weights and you do yoga and you run.
hmm
What is your balance right now? I mean, is there one you lean towards more than the other?
I do a little bit of it all, but yoga seems to be more for me right now. I'm a licensed massage therapist, and it's a little more in line with the muscles, and it helps anxiety that I carry from time to time, and I just love it. And I say this all the time to people, my exercising and fitness levels have evolved so much over the years from the running, the walking, the running, and then I got into bodybuilding
Yeah,
and training people. And then now it's sort of balanced out at yoga. And the yoga helps me with my running and my weightlifting. I can run now just better than I've ever done. And I think it's a lot of the breathing that's in with the yoga and the stretching of the muscles.
Now, do you go to yoga class or do you do it online or how do you?
I go to yoga class, but actually I started it all on YouTube. I picked out a beginner's class, and as I said, I was a bodybuilder, so I was solid, stiff muscle. And I began by doing it online with YouTube in my house. And then I felt comfortable and confident enough to go into a studio. And, from there, I basically do it, a lot of it just at my home now. Your body, once you begin stretching these muscles and opening up places that have been so tight for so long, it'll start asking for more. And I mean, you'll feel it. You'll want to move different ways, you'll want to stretch different ways. It's amazing to me.
Hey, Stephanie, I run with a group in Tifton, the Sunbelt Runners, and we have a lady that runs with us, and she's a very avid yoga follower, and she's
Mhm.
super flexible. And at the end of all of our runs, we usually run like a 6 mile run. She'll put us through the paces on some yoga, and let me tell you, we are the most unflexible group of people you've ever seen in your life. But she makes good on it. Every year we have a Christmas party, and she gives out a certificate to all of us that that are kind of there on a regular basis. And you pass another year of yoga. I mean, we're no better than we ever were. I mean, I can't even touch my toes. I mean, I'm just super inflexible. But she puts us through it, and a lot of people do say it helps tremendously. It helps her running and just overall. And I have a niece that's really into yoga, and she swears by it. I mean, there's something definitely to it.
Yeah, I have a lot of people
Mhm.
who talk about yoga,
Yeah,
and I think I would benefit from yoga if I
I,
just gotta. I think that's what I need to do is just YouTube a beginner's class and just
yeah,
mhm.
and a lot of it's just getting started. I mean, because it's just like anything, when people say, "Oh, well, I'd come out and run with you, but you're too advanced," or I'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
embarrassed because I'll have to walk or anything like this. Like I'm embarrassed because I
Can't touch
like,
your toes.
yeah, you're stretching out and you're like, this feels awkward. I probably look awkward, and you know, but you just got to get out there and start doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the first step is always the hardest step, but once you begin, your body will tell you what's next.
You
It's just
sound
like
almost
with the
like
running.
you sound almost like you're a natural at it. I mean, with you coming from a bodybuilding background, did you find it was tough to get flexible, or did it kind of come in?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. It
Okay.
was very, very tough for me, but it benefited me so much I couldn't stop doing it. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
And it's just like running, we go through, it's part of the territory sometimes to injure this or pull this. It's the same thing with yoga. I've been hurt more doing yoga than running.
So how much are you running now?
I do about 25 miles a week.
Well, that's not bad. It's not bad at all.
No, no, and I'm in Macon now, and it's very hilly around here where I'm
Yeah.
at,
Yeah.
Oh
so
yeah,
I love it.
they used to have a marathon in Macon. That's the one that Kelly used to run, midnight the Midnight Run in Macon, I
I
want to
kind
say.
of remember that.
And it was like a 6 mile loop, and you had to run it multiple times, and it was
Yeah.
just murder.
Yeah,
I forget what that one was. I have to look that up.
yeah. Was it a marathon or just a
I think
run?
it was a marathon.
Oh,
Huh.
yeah. See, I don't know of any marathons around here anymore, but there's a wonderful running group. And I always talk about the Tipton running group. The Tipton running group is so strong. And I mean, it's like a family. Y'all are all so tight.
We really are.
And
We've got a great
Ma-
group out there.
it's always been that way for many years. And Macon is the same way. Very good group.
It's Make It by Midnight.
I've
That's
heard
the
Making
that.
name of
Yeah.
the race. Make
Okay.
It by Midnight, and they start at like I think like 7:30 or
Isn't that the one though? You come up with your own start time though. You say like it takes me 4 hours to run a marathon. I start 4 hours out, and if it takes you 8 hours or whatever, you start at that time. I'm
let's
pretty sure
see.
that's how it goes, and I think that you just got to finish by midnight to kind of complete the course, or to make the course and qualify the course for the course.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I
Somebody
think
who expects to finish in 4 hours starts at 8 o'clock.
okay, yeah. So you set your own
And
start time.
Yeah.
the cutoff time for the race finishes 1 a.m. and
Oh,
it's an
wow.
out and back, and it's a 6.5 mile route. So you're running, I guess, 3 1/4 out, coming back, running out, coming back,
Right.
running, and supposedly there's a big hill in the middle.
You might know that hill,
Oh.
Stephanie.
Sounds like
I
torture.
know. I might live on it.
So how long have you been in Macon now?
How long? I've been in Macon maybe 4 months.
Now, did you ever live in Tifton or in this area?
I lived in Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what the connection was.
And Mike Beeman was my trainer to get to Boston.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember when you guys were running together.
Yeah, he's excellent individual.
Yeah, he needs to come train me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you'll
he-
love it. You'll love it.
he's a big proponent of running, kind of easy, and you do certain things, but you keep it you keep conversation going, you stay kind of easy, you don't kill yourself out there. It's just consistency, in running and staying with it.
Yeah,
Which-
for 18 miles.
Yeah,
What he does
yeah,
on
yeah.
a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I know. He's unreal.
Now, Stephanie, I know you're very fit. So, what kind of diet do you have? Anything in particular?
Well, my diet's evolved too. So I, I've always been really a healthy eater, but when I was in bodybuilding, it was basically chicken and broccoli, morning, noon, and night for 2 years.
What'd you get your body
And
percent to?
oh gosh, it was basically nothing. I really can't even remember. But I had gotten down to, I mean, it was solid muscle. And but it was chicken and broccoli, and I moved to McDonough to go to school, massage school, and I just started experiencing a lot of fatigue and just what I call brain fog. Just
Hmm.
the loopy feeling you get with fatigue, and so I started seeing an herbalist, and it helped me with the fatigue and whatnot, and I started just laying off the meat. So I've gone completely vegetarian for the past 3 years.
Vegan
And
or vegetarian?
I'm vegetarian. I mean, I don't eat any, but I love it. And I remember when Mike Beeman was vegetarian. I totally remember, and I thought he was crazy for that. But and the people at the gym that I work out with here, they just can't believe that I don't eat meat. I'm like, I get my protein from spelt, from kale, from beans, different things now, and I feel so much better.
Really?
But
That's interesting. I've heard that
yeah,
from a
but
lot of
I
people.
don't. My thinking, my sleep is so much better. It, I mean, my endurance, honestly, at the gym, I'm a 42-year-old woman. I can go in that gym and I can outdo most of those youngsters. And of course, I've always been active, but I attribute it mostly to my diet.
Yeah, that's one thing I do believe. Diet is a big part of what you can do
So
in life.
are you eating eggs? Do you eat eggs?
I haven't eaten eggs in like 6 months. So, but I believe, eat what your body is calling for, in moderation.
Exactly. I agree.
But
Do you drink milk?
no way, I haven't done that in 12 years.
Do you do whey protein?
No, no, I do
This is
hemp
interesting.
protein.
Yeah.
Vegetarians are interesting to me
Yeah. Yeah. We
because
know.
I love meat so much.
Yeah, well, if
But
that's what works for you, I say go for it. But
well, I don't know if fried chicken and we were talking before we came on the show about fried chicken and fried pork chops and country fat steak and all the
Yeah.
major fried food
All the
groups.
big meat groups. Yeah. You know,
yeah,
I believe that, and I'm no expert on diets at all by any means, but I do believe that everybody is so individual that you do, like you said, you kind of have to find your own thing, because
mm-hmm,
I mean, I can eat fried chicken. It doesn't bother me, I mean, I don't eat it every day. I feel like there's room for, moderation. There's room for,
mm-hmm,
splurging a little bit. But overall, the whole diet thing is a mental thing that you have to pay attention to all day long.
Hmm.
I mean,
right.
you don't stress yourself out thinking about it, but it's always a conscious decision in whatever you're doing. At least it is to me. It's always a conscious decision. I say I can eat this, fried chicken, but then I know later on I can't eat fried chicken. I can't eat fried chicken at 9 o'clock at night. If I want something to eat,
Right.
I have to eat something healthy.
Well, you have to do with a diet. You have to number one make sure that it's suitable for your body. That you don't have the fatigue. You don't have an upset stomach. It doesn't.
Hmm.
And then you have to have it something that's doable that you will do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with me, when I'm dieting, when I want to lose weight, which I need to lose weight, now don't take advice from me because I'm heavy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, but the diets that work for me are the diets where I'm, basically cut out the meat, but I can eat all the protein that I want, all the meat that I
Mm-hmm.
want, and all the vegetables that I want. Because I can eat meat and vegetables all day
Yeah.
until I'm full. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
can eat chicken, steak, and then I can eat squash, zucchini, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't cut calories. I mean, I can't count calories and do all this other stuff. I don't count macros and do all
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
other
It can
stuff.
be very
Yeah,
involved.
I don't do that
But,
either.
if you told me that I had to just do one thing, and there's like 1,000 different diets out there, and most of them are based on just dropping calories. I mean, calories in, calories out. But, if you have a diet, what's the point of having a diet if you can't do it?
That's right. I mean,
Or if you
Right.
hate it? Because if you hate your diet, then you're not going to do it, and it might
that's
last
right.
a
Yeah.
week or two or three.
Well, it's all about consistency. I mean, everything's about you run. You want to be a good runner. You got to be consistent. You want to be a good weightlifter. You got to be
Mm-hmm.
consistent. It's all about consistency. And a diet cannot be achieved in a week or a month or 3 months. It's got to be achieved over a long span of time. It don't come
Right.
on quick and it don't fall off quick.
And you know what? I was listening to another podcast about fasting and these 24-hour fasts that people are doing,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I think who was it? I think it was Rob Lowe, which Rob Lowe is like 56 years old. And he looks like he's 26.
Yeah.
And
Right.
what he does is 3 days a week he'll do 24-hour fast.
Hmm.
But see, he doesn't skip a day. When people say 24-hour fast, that means you go with a day without eating. But no, on Tuesday to Wednesday, he'll eat dinner Tuesday night. He won't eat again until Wednesday
Yeah.
night dinner.
I do
And then
believe
he'll eat, Thursday he'll get up and he'll eat whatever he wants. And he eats pretty well. But then Friday, he'll eat dinner Friday, and then he'll go all the way till Saturday, and he does that, 3 days a week.
I believe there is something to fasting. I mean, I think your body needs a break every
But
so often.
Oh, I do too.
But again, that's and he'll be the first to say it's mostly because it's an easy way to cut out calories.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Well, to lose weight, you've got to take in less than you're burning off.
but
Did I say that?
Right.
Did I say that right? You
Yeah.
got to take in less than
Yes.
you get. So I mean, that's the way it works, and you can look at it any way you want to look at it. You've got to take in less than you're burning off. I mean, it's just that's the only way it makes sense.
mhm.
You can't just continue to eat all you want and expect to see any. But anyway, we didn't mean to get on the diet, Stephanie. I'm sorry about that.
It'll always catch up with you, the diet, and
It will.
I
It
eat
does.
for life, and
So
I don't.
you never eat meat. You
No,
you
I
you
haven't
never,
eaten in three
drive by
years.
Chick-fil-A and be like, that's
Never.
God's
No,
chicken.
Hey,
I
Stephanie,
never have.
Stephanie, what's a splurge for you? I mean, what would be like you just say, hey, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to eat something really crazy today.
Oh gosh, I had a peanut butter, well, almond butter and apricot sandwich. I mean, that to me, that's a splurge. But I do have, I'll make gluten-free cookies, things like that. That's a splurge for me.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you follow a pattern of eating and eat this to make yourself feel better and not just to sleep or whatever, you know, you don't ever binge from it. I've always been this way with my eating. I remember when I was married, I would make food for me and make food for my husband. it was I just have always been really conscious of my eating. And when I talk to people about food, I like to say, I mean, it's just a fact. The food we eat today, especially the fast food and the food we ate 3 to 5 years ago, they're completely different. I
Hmm.
mean, everything there's additives, more additives than there were then. The food, the meats, the even some of the fruits and vegetables, they're grown under gases and things. You just have to be really mindful and precautious of what you're putting in your body. Honor your body with good food, and that's what I try to live by.
Sure. Hey, I want to back up just a minute. I want to ask you about that bodybuilding. You said you became a bodybuilder. So did you compete?
I did in Miami in 2017. I
Wow,
was fourth place.
not so long ago. That's pretty
Now,
good.
No.
what category?
I was physique. It was.
Because there's different. There's like the women have different categories.
Yeah, there's the extreme bodybuilding women like a Miss Olympia type thing, but isn't there like a lower or a different level rather, where the women are a little
Yeah.
more natural? Yeah,
Sports and
yeah, a little
fitness
more
and
natural. Yeah.
It was the physique build because when I put on muscle, all my life I've been this way. I I tend to put muscle on fast. Even my trainer at the gym, he'll tell me he's known me 20 years. He'll say, I'll say, Jamie, I don't want to lift a lot of heavy weight, especially with the activities I do now. But I'll say I don't want to put on a lot of weight by lifting a lot of weight
You had some
because
guns on. You had some guns on you for a while. I remember.
yeah, I get them fast. I develop those muscles fast, and I think that's from my eating and all. But I was in the physique, women physique category, I think is what it was called,
Hmm.
because I had, developed a little bit more muscle, and the others is the fitness category when it's just fit. But I was a little more muscular. You remember my pictures?
I do. I remember. Yeah, you were in great shape. You really was.
Thank you.
So
now
go ahead, Ron.
are you practicing massage therapist now?
I'm a massage therapist now.
Okay.
I work.
Tell me about the benefits of massage. Now,
Actually, it's wonderful. Yoga is an indirect massage. So a direct massage would be someone else doing the massage. And when you're doing it on yourself, it's the yoga. It's very beneficial. It's circulation for the body. It helps get rid of the acid that you have in the body. And as active as y'all are, I would recommend y'all getting one a month or at least,
Hey,
to help with that.
let me ask you something. This is not a medical question by any means. I'm not asking. I'm not going to hold you to anything. But I have some dislocated disc in my neck, and now
Uh-huh.
that I'm getting older, it's really started hindering me some. And what the
Mhm.
deal is, it's the inflammation. When I do something like lift weights or just overexert, the inflammation gets bad, and of course it causes my neck to kill me. It's just like it's hard. It just hurts to hold your head on your shoulder sometimes. I mean, do you think a massage or anything like that would alleviate that?
I definitely do. Do you see a chiropractor? Would be my first question.
I don't, and I'll be honest with you about that. I used to work in kind of in the orthopedic field. I was a orthopedic technician back in the early '80s. Tell my age here a little
Mhm.
bit. Back in the early '80s at the hospital, and of course, orthopedic doctors don't believe in chiropractors. And I kind of
I
came
know.
up. I kind of came up with that. With that thought. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against chiropractors by any means. I know they've done some great things for people. In fact, my wife sees a chiropractor, but I just kind of
Good.
always kind of shied away from it. And now that I'm hurt, the reason I'm staying away from it is because mine is not a muscular thing; it's a skeletal thing. So,
Mhm.
I just, my biggest fear is like I'm gonna go and this guy's gonna crack me up and bend me all these different ways and it's gonna be worse. Am I totally wrong on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. No, I mean, chiropractic is very healing to me, and they'll adjust you, they'll modify their manipulations because they know they'll be able to feel the inflammation in the neck. But massage would be where you would start at, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it would help alleviate some of that inflammation there. But number one is the diet. Modify what's going in your mouth that's causing the inflammation.
What what would that be? I mean, just I know you don't know what I eat, but just off the top of your head, is there anything like any staples in the diet that you can think of that hey, that's a no-no and you should probably stay away from that?
Acidic food causes inflammation in our body. Excess sugar um, is what I know for certain does. And people don't believe me when I say what you're eating is causing you inflammation. But
Yeah,
it's
I can totally
everything.
understand that.
Everything that we put in our mouth affects our body, especially our skeletal system and things. And what we're putting in that's causing excess mucus in the blood and things like that, that is what causes inflammation in our body. And once we can start, adding more water, good pure water, and eating a little better, like I said earlier, eating to for life, what for putting life in your body, what brings you out, life, and not what's weighing us down.
Right.
And
I hear there's
what
a lot of healthy fats help,
hmm
like avocados and stuff.
avocados definitely are good for that
And
inflammation.
then I hear we don't get enough fish oil in our
hmm
bodies, and that helps juice the joints
hmm
and
I need to look
knock
at that.
down some of that. I started taking fish oil,
Maybe I need
and
to
I
look at
think
that.
Just
I like it. I mean,
yeah,
you take one that's not gonna make you fishy smell, or
yeah.
but because I deal with a lot of inflammation
Right.
because I know
hmm
my diet sucks.
Fried
Well,
pork chops.
Yeah, yeah.
detoxing, it would be good. I mean, when I say detox, people get confused. A detox can be massage, can be just stretching, yoga, um, and fasting. Actually, you were talking about fasting. Fasting is a detox, and it's very good for our system because, like you said, Rick, it does give your digestive system time to rest, and you'll feel. I have fasted for 3 days before, and I mean, I did a spiritual fast.
Right.
That was many years ago. That was like 7 years ago. But I do fast often. I do intermediate fasting every day, and I have for the past 3 or 4 years. But as far as a 24-hour fast, I'll do those from time to time, and it's awesome.
Definitely.
It's a detox, and being in a sauna, being in the sun, that is a detox. Anytime you're sweating, your lymphatic system is flowing, and your body's getting rid of what it's been exposed to as far as toxins, metals, bad things in our air, whatever we've eaten. Anytime your lymphatic flow is moving, it's a good thing. And that's what massage does, that's what yoga does, running, being active.
Do you do any coaching, Stephanie?
I do a few people I do.
I know you teach the class, but do you have like a client or anything like that, or do you take clients and things like that?
No, I do my nonprofit work. I have a nonprofit now, brain injury awareness and brain and mental health. Do a lot of advocacy work, and I meet
Yeah.
and talk with kids and people that's going through that stuff. And but as far as the training and all of that, no, I don't. But when I'm on the massage, I have people on my massage table, I do go over these things with them.
Coach them up a little bit while you got them there.
That's right.
Yeah.
I try to keep them on the straight.
Well, do you ever have to break people down and say, you know what? Listen, you come in here, you get a massage, but what you're doing at home is what's really killing you.
I haven't been that,
Can't quite be that
I
candid, huh?
haven't, I haven't been that stern yet, but there are a few that I have seen that, you know, you, I like to listen to them and get what they're doing and what, you know, is not working for them. And then I'll give, my advice, what I feel. But, if and it's every time they come in, I understand what the problem is. And but at least I look at it as I'm helping.
Mhm.
The massage is helping. It's like them being active. It's
Yeah.
circulation in the body.
Yeah, you just tell them, you would get so much more out of this if you did a couple of these little things here.
Yeah.
It would be such
And
a
it's
better experience for you.
right. And it's all begins with that first step we
See,
talked about,
I'm trying to coach myself up while
that
she's on the telephone.
that first step is the hardest step. But when you take that first step in faith, every other step, I promise, appears. And I mean, but it's hard for people to make that step. Sometimes it's that first step is a total mile leap, and it's difficult for them.
Stephanie, tell us about the Brain Trauma Organization.
Well, I did after everything happened to me in Boston in 2013. After I got through, I was speaking and writing. I got through that and, I chalked it up as, I'm a survivor. I get through that again. And I've done some modeling for the past 7 or 8 years in Atlanta for different places. And I got a contract with a tennis wear company. And that tennis wear company, had no idea of what anything I'd been through. And I went to that shoot and it was in Woodstock, Georgia. And at the shoot, the people that own the company, that was a family, the man was taking the pictures. The husband was taking the pictures of me. And we were on a tennis court and he gets a call in the middle of the shoot and he says, "Okay, Stephanie, you run up to Starbucks. I'll be back to pick you up. Probably I'll pick you up. I've got to run to my wife's and get my son." And he was really disturbed sounding when he said all this. So I was like, whatever. Okay, I get to wear my tennis wear clothes up there. So I go up to Starbucks and I hang out at Starbucks for 20, 25 minutes, and then he pulls back up into his car and he calls me and I go out there and I bebop out and I get in his car and this was a moment of grace for me. I remember hopping in that car, flipping around, looking in the back seat, and there was an 8-year-old boy sitting in a car seat. He had his head hanging down. He had spit rolling out from a brain injury. The exact same memory that I had when I come out of a coma in that hospital hallway in Albany, Georgia. And it sends chills down my spine even talking about it still today. But I remember looking back at that child and I could see the light. I could see Grace there. But his dad was in the front seat just fussing and bitching and moaning about his wife, or about having to do, he wanted to get the work done. And I remember grabbing his hand and I said, "Take a breath. It's okay. I know this situation far greater than you could ever imagine." And I cleared up that issue with just my presence being there and telling him what I had been through. And we went back to the tennis courts and we finished the shoot and I went back home. And that's when I went to the lawyer's office and I started the papers for my nonprofit because I knew, my presence and my story could help somebody through the hard time like that guy was having. And since then, I've done a lot of outreach, fundraisers, a lot of writing, and I've done some television. But it brings me a lot of peace and a lot of joy to be a part of this.
It sounds like it. I remember a
Hmm.
few years ago, there was a photo of a young lady that you did a photo shoot with, and
Uh-huh.
she had a disability, and I don't remember it that well, but what was going on there?
She had one leg.
That's right. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, she was from here in Macon. She was 8 years old and was diagnosed with cancer in her femur, and she had her leg taken off. And I got a call from her father and her mom that she had been reading my running blog, and when this is when I was deep into running, and she wanted to meet me,
Isn't that
and
something? I mean, she didn't know you at all.
didn't know me at all. She found me online, and she her dad and mom, they have a studio here in Macon, and she wanted a photo shoot with me. And when her mama and daddy called me, I had no idea this child was standing on one leg. And I didn't know this situation, but they said, we would like you to do a photo shoot with our daughter. She's been sick. So I was like, okay. So I dedicated some time out and I went. And I remember walking in that studio, and there was this little girl. She was 10 years old at this time when I met her, and we did the first photos. And she had on a pink wig, and she had a smile on her face from ear to ear. And she had only one leg, and I remember my heart just sinking. But she's passed away. She's 5 years ago she passed away.
Oh
But
no, I didn't know that.
yeah, she made such an impact on my life. Just her spirit being that bright under those circumstances, I was like, the world needs to go by people like that can
Yeah, well,
still shine so bright after things like that. But I was with that. I mean, that family's still wonderful friends of mine up until the day she passed away.
oh my goodness, was that due to that same thing?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cancer came back and it was in her brain, and she passed away. So, but
Sorry to hear about that, Stephanie. That was a great thing.
yeah,
It's a great thing you got
uh,
to participate in.
yeah, she was like my daughter, and I've got a son, but she was like my daughter, and I just love her still.
Gosh, what a great story. I mean, that's really good.
So what's next? What are things that are motivating you for the future?
Um, right now I've been just working a lot. Um, with COVID-19, I'm scared to even say anything. I don't know what would be next. I want to get back into the hospitals and visiting my kids and my patients that are brain and spinal cord. I mean, that's my mojo. That's what brings me joy. But the yoga, I do yoga retreats and I still do my races. So I don't really know. I'm scared to say what the future.
It's
The
tough
I think
moment
times.
the
we all
moment you
Yeah.
are.
say it, then you get
Yeah.
your hopes up. You get your hopes up, and then they cancel it. And we've all been through that. We've all had things that have been just canceled
Yeah.
on us, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's
like
true.
I don't know if we can look forward to anything yet.
It's hard to make plans. It really
Right.
is. And
My
people.
biggest
Go ahead.
going my I was had a lot of speaking engagements planned when COVID hit, which was in March, I believe. I had two or three, maybe four speaking arrangements all over Georgia, and all of a sudden, and that's one of my biggest future events I would like is to get back into that.
Yeah, that sounds like that's your forte. I mean, it sounds like that's something you're good at.
No, thank
Let
you,
me
thank
ask you,
you.
what? Tell us about Strong Talk. And I have to be honest. I have to be honest with you. I just found out about Strong Talk today. I was on your page looking, and I saw that, so I watched
Yeah.
a couple of them.
Well, when COVID happened, I was having a lot of calls and a lot of messages, people frantic, and I do some, like I said, I talk with people on, helping stay mentally stable and things that can help. But I was getting questions after questions of what should I do? What should I do? And I just felt this push. And it was to speak, to talk, and I started speaking and I started doing those talks, and it's been great. I mean, I get more and more every week of people talking, wanting to wanting me to talk about this or asking me questions, and I, I like that. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think we can kind of relate somewhat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we need some good words going through all this
Sure.
instead of all of this needy,
This this
Yeah.
was a show born out of COVID, so
Yeah, really, it kind of
Yeah.
came about around the same
So
time,
it's
didn't
yeah.
it?
a blessing.
We've had so much fun on this show, Stephanie. You know, we've talked to so many interesting people. I mean, every guest has just been great, and they all bring something new to the table. You know, and you know, it's
Yeah.
amazing to hear about all the feats that these people do and all the things people accomplish. You know, it's just like, man, you know, it makes you think I got to go out there and get it done. You know, it's inspiring.
Yeah. It gives hope, and we all need that,
Sure,
especially now.
definitely. Well, Stephanie, who are some of your role models in life?
Um, let me see. Well, my my role models,
Does anybody like to
one of
meet?
my
Does anybody like to meet out there? If you had
that
an
I would like
opportunity.
well, of course, Oprah Winfrey. She's my number one. And I bought tickets. This was in January to visit to one of her when she was doing her tour. I forget what it is, but my nonprofit took a fellow survivor to see her in Atlanta. So,
Wow,
but we didn't get to meet her. And The Rock was there. It was awesome. But
she's been
she's
pretty
on my
successful.
list too. And
She's
I'd like
done
to
one
meet
or two things in her
Yeah,
life.
yeah, she
She
has.
has.
and Tyler Perry. I'd love to meet him. But a role model, one of my very best friends is a double amputee in Atlanta. And he lost one of his legs in an accident, and then he had to have the other one taken off. But he has wrote a book, and he travels the world speaking. He's played an important role in my life. And I would say a role model, he is a big role model to me. And but I speak to him regularly. And
Well,
anybody
you
else,
need to let us get his information so he can come on our show.
We'd love to
I
talk to
will.
him.
Yeah, I'll certainly give you. I'll send y'all his information. He would be perfect. His speaking is beautiful, and he's done a lot of speaking over in Tifton, and he did some in Fitzgerald. But he's just a wonderful person. He's an Iron Man.
Oh, really?
Wow,
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
is
he was the
something.
first double amputee Iron Man.
that's cool.
That
That's
is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your excuse, Rick?
Man, I don't know.
I love
These
hearing
people run
stories like
rings
that.
around me.
I love hearing stories like that because then
Yeah.
you get that you have to look inward and say, well, what's my problem? Why am I not doing?
Well,
you
before
know?
she even mentioned that, I was going to bring up the fact that it's so inspiring to see these people who's missing a limb doing Spartans and Tough Mudders and all these races, and they're good at it. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I can't imagine. I've got all my limbs and everything seems to be functioning right now. Got a few issues here and there, but to be at that, to be in that place in your life and still be able to be so active, it's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that drive that I told y'all about that was instilled in me at such a young age. And I think that's the same with him. I mean, once we go through those tragic things and we're on the verge of death, the
You kind of
Holy
awaken
Spirit,
something in you.
totally gets to you. It brings you that light. It's either going to, when you go through that kind of stuff, you can let it defeat you or you can overcome. You can let it drive you. And I think that's what it did for him too.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
great.
All right. Well, I think we've taken up enough of your time.
Oh, I've enjoyed it so
50
much.
Us too, Stephanie. Thanks so much for coming on. I tell you, we have loved having you.
Yeah.
Thank you
What
so
what a great
much.
story, a great inspiration to a lot of people out there. And what is if people want to reach out or learn more about you and your nonprofit, what's the best way for them to do that?
Shareyourstrong.org is my website, or you can find me on Facebook, Stephanie McDuffie Freeman, or Share Your Strong.
Share Your Strong.
Great.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, if anybody out there is looking, we will put that information down in the comments. And
Thank you.
this one of the things I got to work on this week. The last two shows, they will be uploaded to the podcast,
Mhm.
iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all those. And then it's, as always, we stream it live on Facebook and YouTube. And so if anybody's out there wants to learn more, they can like and subscribe, and they can watch this as many times as they would like.
Awesome.
Great. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much.
All righty.
Thank you so much, y'all.
Stay in touch. Have a great day.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was she's done a lot in her life.
She's great. Yeah, she was good.
Well,
She's very interesting.
We're not done yet.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Sorry.
Wait.
Man, I thought we were done.
No, we got. I want to call this guy and see if we
Okay.
can get a little bit more information. He said he might be on a bicycle.
This is Todd.
Coach Smoot, Coach Todd Smoot, how
Hey,
are you
Todd.
today?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Are you out at practice?
No.
Hey,
No.
Todd,
just
brace
riding a
yourself. Brace yourself. You're getting a call from Running Theory.
I am aware. I am aware. But no, I was just out and about, and just got back. Actually, just got back to where I'm in a car and relaxing for a few minutes.
Well, you know what? I was.
How are you, gentlemen, this afternoon?
I got your
Great,
text
thank you.
this weekend, and I was thinking, he's having a Labor Day race, and then I started talking about the race earlier in the show, and I was like, we're gonna have an in-person race, and then I started looking at the dates, and I said, that's this Saturday. It's this Saturday, correct?
That's this Saturday.
It's this Saturday.
and then we have a Labor Day race too. We have two races coming
That's
up.
what we're wondering, yeah.
Okay.
An actual race, but there's also a virtual content to it, so you can, if you want to, you can go with the virtual, or people outside of the community can do virtual and submit, and but we'll have a certified course ready to go, have some fun, enjoy each other, but at the same time, keep some distance from each other while you're congregating prior to the start, and wear masks since we're in the city of Valdosta, and follow through and have some fun, treat others like you'd like to be treated yourself, and let's get home safe.
And all these proceeds go to the VSU cross country team, correct?
Yes, a course line is putting on an event, and the money that is raised is going to the Valdosta State University cross country teams. It's going to their foundation
And-
account, and so it's helping them.
And if people have been under a rock and they don't know, a lot of the fall sports have been canceled except for cross country and golf, I believe, correct?
Correct. Well, cross country is the only sport that actually does have a season in the fall. The golf team has a few meets, like the cross country team uses spring for spring training, just like the football team uses spring for spring training. Well, the golf team uses the fall for some matches. They're allowed to hit a few matches during that period of time, and they are being allowed to continue to hit a few of those matches that they like normally to hit. And the cross country team, though, out of the sports that Valdosta State University offers, we are the only team that is still in play.
Awesome. Well, I bet you're happy about that.
Well, of course I am. I'm very happy that anytime. I mean, as long as the powers that be continue to say yes, we got to play. We get to play. We get to run. The moment somebody says no, then we're shut down.
Mhm.
So it's an evolving. It's a fluid situation. I'm telling you, there are meetings practically every day at some level in the NCAA, and then they pass down the decisions that are being made by those individuals or those groups, those committees, and then people like myself and other coaches then take those dictates and we deal with them the best we can. The kids have been encouraged to recognize the fact that they don't have the ability to make the decision on their well-being, and I mean in the sense of whether or not they have a season, but what they do have is how they react to the decisions that are put down to our level. So they need to remain focused, positive, and control their ups and downs as much as humanly possible. And let's have some fun. And if we get to race, then we get to race, and they'll show their stuff.
Well, I am happy to see sports come back, and I'm happy that cross country is coming back. When is your first meet for cross country? Do you have that?
Well, that is a reasonable question, and I can't answer it.
Okay.
Because the rules keep changing.
Okay.
So if I told you a date, then the likelihood of that date actually being the date is slim and none. So right now I'm looking a lot. I'm looking around, seeing what is available, and then we will, as soon as I can, believe me, as soon as it is humanly possible for me to nail down a schedule that I know we would be able to run, and that we would be, then I'll pass that information on. I do. Unfortunately, it looks bad for us having a home meet. I don't believe we will have a home meet in the year 2020. It will be 2021 before we can do it again. But there's always a chance, but it's probably only about a 5% chance that we would have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's races that people can get to if they're wanting to look, because there's usually have a race in
Sure, FSU,
FSU, Gainesville.
There's a FSU, Gainesville, and a variety of. And of course, if I can, I'll share the information whenever we can, and get the information out to the listening public so that they would be able to participate or be out there and cheer on the Valdosta Red and Black.
Awesome.
Sounds
Well,
great.
we want to have you come in, and hopefully we can talk some VSU cross country, because if there's one thing I love, it is the Valdosta State Blazers. I'm a Valdosta State Blazers through and through. If you did not know,
Yes, you are. Through and
He
through.
bleeds red and black.
Yes, you
but
are.
So
Well, very
this
good.
weekend I will be there. I'm gonna race.
Excellent.
I'm gonna have at least 2 of my youngins there, because I'm gonna push them in the stroller, and I challenge anyone to try and come and beat me and the twins in the stroller. We'll just lay that out there.
Anyone?
Wow.
Anyone.
Wow.
So I'm inviting anyone. It's
Gonna go for it.
it's a no frills race. It's $10, $15 for the virtual 5K, but
Right.
$10 will get you.
virtual. But yeah,
It's
$10 will get you in until race day. On race day, it goes to $15 for everybody. But
okay.
you
$15
can-
race day.
but it's $10 up to 3:00 on up to 2:59 on Friday.
Okay.
And I think it was within 15 or 20 minutes of it being posted yesterday, we already had, or within a few hours of having it posted, we already had 7 people running. And now it's more. And we have virtuals and we have face-to-face. So we have people in Atlanta already signed up, and we have people, actually 2 people in Atlanta are already signed up for the virtual, and we have 5 or 7 more local, and it's just going to keep going.
Awesome.
What time's it start, Todd? Face to face.
Say again?
What time's it start?
What time you shoot the gun?
Oh, 7:30.
7:30. So, but
7:30
before it
start.
gets
7:30
hot,
start, so it'll be right. No excuses.
no excuses. $10 race. Well, where is the best way for them to sign up? Runsignup.com.
Run sign up. Run sign up is the easiest way, and you can even print out a race application if you wish to and bring it with you. But run sign up or on race day, and we'll be looking forward to having people join us.
And I suspect that you will take donations if people want to pay more than $10.
We have already. Yes. Thankfully, some individuals who have already entered have already donated more than the entry fees so far. So we're doing real well, and we want to keep that up. We always need donations, want donations, and we'll pass that information on to the foundation so that people can get to have their donations recognized.
I'll
Awesome.
spread the word. Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome. We will share it, and I will share it. And you know what? If you want to drop my name to anybody who I said, said Rob McGinn said that he was going to whoop you at the 5K, then go ahead and you use that, Todd.
Think of the
I
things
will.
think
I
of the
will do
things you can
that.
do with that, Todd.
All righty.
Well, gentlemen, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to find me, and I hope to see you out here this Saturday.
all right.
Thanks,
Sounds
Todd.
wonderful.
Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks a bunch.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I wanted to call and get Todd Smoot on since his race is this Saturday.
Yeah.
Because
Thank goodness we
I
looked that
do
up.
love my Blazers, and it's unfortunately in the hierarchy of sports, cross country is not at the top.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if it sniffs the top. But you know what? And I tell people this all the time. Coach Todd Smoot is coaching 2 teams. He's coaching, and not only just 2 teams. It's not like a varsity and a JV team. It's a men's team and a women's team. And so he has to deal with all that becomes of that. And, it's different if you're coaching a basketball team with 10 dudes on it.
Right.
You're coaching a team with possibly 12 boys and 12 girls, and you have to maintain, because it's not like basketball. We're going to go do layups, and everybody's going to do the same layup in the same line, because people run at different paces. People, are at different levels when they come back from summertime going home. They're coming back, and they're at different levels physically, endurance-wise, and things like that. So you can't make them all go do 10 miles or 20 miles or whatever they're doing at a certain pace, because you don't want to break kids that aren't there yet. So it's a lot of coaching, it's a lot of strategy, it's a lot of number crunching and things like that, and knowing your runners. So
Plus, Todd writes individual plans for people.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's coaching all the time.
So if you have time, if you're out there Saturday, and even if you don't have time, sign up and send them $10. I mean, what's $10?
Yeah.
It's a
good cause.
Yeah, and it's a nonprofit. It's a write-off. So, and these kids would appreciate it. They appreciate everybody, and I'm sure you'll see a lot of them out there running and pacing people and cheering people on. So try to get out there Saturday morning. Anything else?
Man, I think I'm done. We had a good one. We had a great one. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Todd.
Thank y'all. And next week we will be here, and we will have the director of Girls on the Run, Lauren
Looking forward to
Hurley, and we will apologize again
Face to face.
next Monday. And maybe we'll tell that story again about the time that I messed up. That one time that I messed up. But we've been going on here for a while. Sandy says, is the half sold out yet? I'm thinking that she's talking about Space Coast.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know yet.
I don't either. I haven't looked at
but
it.
it's in the history of Space Coast. I mean, it's literally like a 10-minute sellout.
Sure, yeah. It sells out
And
immediately.
now that people are seeing that a race is, actually going to be able to race, I would think they would just sell out quickly. So
Yeah. That is a Sunday race, isn't it? Is
Yes.
it Space Coast Sunday? Okay,
Sunday.
Yeah,
So-
it works out.
So, all right. Well, we'll see you next week. We are so glad you joined us. And take care, stay safe, and run some miles.
Thanks a lot.